If you're thinking about moving to Chicago, you need to hear this, because here's the truth. The things you've been hearing about Chicago from researching the web and watching YouTube videos that glorify it or tell horror stories about it, some of it is accurate and some of it is completely wrong. I lived in Chicago for 27 years. I've raised my family here. I built my career here. And as a realtor, I met hundreds of people from all over who made Chicago home. So today, I'm breaking down the real pros and cons of living in this city. Not a tourist version, not the sensational headlines, the actual honest truth about what it's like to live here day to day. And stick around until the end, because I'm going to share some insider tips that only some locals know, things that'll make your life here way easier if you decide to make the move. So let's go. I'm Savic. My team and I specialize in helping busy professionals just like you make their move to Chicago. And whether that's in 6 days or 6 months, feel free to reach out. Our contact info is in the description. We'd love to help you make a smooth move to Chicago. All right, so let's start with the good stuff, because there's a lot to love about this city. Pro number one is affordability. Let's just get this out of the way. If you're coming from Manhattan or San Francisco, Chicago home prices are going to feel like a bargain. I'm talking about a spacious 2-bedroom condo in a great neighborhood for $400,000 to $600,000. A beautiful single-family home with a yard for under $1 million. You can actually afford space here without selling a kidney. And I'm not talking about living in the middle of nowhere. I'm talking about walkable neighborhoods with great restaurants, parks, public transit, the whole thing. Now, I'm not saying that Chicago is cheap, but compared to other major cities with this level of culture, job opportunities, and amenities, it is incredibly affordable. You get big city living without a New York or San Francisco price tag. And that matters when you're trying to build wealth, save money, or just have a decent quality of life. Pro number two is connectivity. Here's something I tell every client who moves here from a car-dependent city. You generally don't need a car in Chicago. The CTA, that's our train and bus system, is one of the best in the country. The L train runs 24/7. Buses go everywhere, and it's affordable. You have many neighborhoods with a walk score of 90 or above. That means groceries, restaurants, coffee, pharmacy, gym, everything you need is within walking distance. Now, the CTA isn't perfect. Trains can be delayed. Some stations desperately need updating, but compared to cities where you're stuck in traffic for an hour each way, it's a lifesaver. And here's a little insider tip. Get a Ventra card and load it with a monthly pass if you're commuting daily. It pays for itself fast. And if you're on the north side, the Red Line and Brown Line are your friends. The Red Line is faster, runs 24/7. Brown Line is above ground, it's quieter, it's more scenic. And one more thing, Chicago is incredibly bike-friendly. We have DB bikes and bike lanes everywhere, so you have that option too. Pro number three is architectural and residential character. One of the things I love most about Chicago is the architecture. And I'm not just talking about the skyscrapers, though yes, Chicago is literally the birthplace of the skyscraper, and our downtown skyline is iconic. But what makes Chicago special is the incredible diversity of residential architecture. You have gray stones and brownstones from the early 1900s with all that original character, high ceilings, ornate woodwork, fireplaces, classic Chicago bungalows with their wide front porches and cozy charm, beautiful 4-square homes with those symmetrical facades and spacious interiors, vintage courtyard buildings from the 1920s, tile work, arched entryways, storybook Tudor homes with those steep roofs and charming details, Victorian mansions, 2 flats and 3 flats, modern boutique condo buildings with rooftop decks and floor-to-ceiling windows, timber lofts, concrete lofts. Every neighborhood has its own architectural personality. Lincoln Park feels different from Pilsen. Wicker Park feels different from Lakeview, and that's rare for a major city. You're not just looking at cookie-cutter high-rises everywhere. There's actual character and history in the buildings here. I like to tell my clients that exploring Chicago neighborhoods is like opening a box of chocolates. You never know which flavor you're going to get. And if you're into architecture, you can take the Chicago Architecture Boat Tour, which is hands down one of the best things to do in the city. And it's not just for tourists. My family and I love to take these tours occasionally because the architecture is so impressive and we love learning about Chicago's history. Pro number 4 is the food scene. Look, yes, we are known for deep dish pizza and Chicago-style hot dogs, but we also have some of the best dining in the world. Girl and the Goat, Alinea, RPM Italian, Smith, these are destination restaurants. And the diversity of food here is incredible. You want authentic Mexican food? Go to Pilsen or Little Village. Polish food? Avondale. Indian food? Devon Avenue. Chinese food? Chinatown or Argyle Street. Greek food? Greektown. Chicago is a melting pot of different cultures, and you can taste it in every neighborhood. Pro number 5 is Lake Michigan and outdoor space. Now, one of my favorite things about Chicago, and it's something people don't fully appreciate until they live here, is Lake Michigan, which is basically massive and breathtakingly beautiful. To give you a perspective, it's the world's largest freshwater lake by area. It is 22,000 square miles. And you have gorgeous Lakefront Trail, which is a 26-mile paved path along the Lake Michigan shoreline. When the weather is nicer, you will see hundreds of people jogging, rollerblading, and biking down to Navy Pier or one of the beaches. You've got Oak Street Beach, North Avenue Beach, Montrose Beach, and many other beaches in Edgewater and Rogers Park neighborhoods. You've got harbors for boating and sailing. You can even take kayaking and paddleboarding lessons right on the lake. And it's not just the lake. Chicago has over 600 parks. That's more green space per capita than almost any major city in the US. Millennium Park, Grand Park, Lincoln Park, these are huge, beautiful parks with free concerts, festivals, events, and then you have neighborhood parks everywhere. Hamlin Park, Wicker Park, Humboldt Park, Portage Park, Winnemucca Park, Wells Park, and here's something people don't talk about often. Chicago is surrounded by forest preserves. If you like to hike, bike, or just get out of the city for a bit, you're 20 minutes from nature. The North Branch Trail, the Des Plaines River Trail, Caldwell Woods, you can actually spot a deer or a few here, which is just incredible. It's not something you expect in Chicago if you live outside of US. You think Chicago and your first thought is skyscrapers. People really don't realize how much access we have to the outdoor space and nature. It's definitely one of my favorite things about living here. You will definitely not feel like you're living in a concrete and glass jungle here in Chicago. Pro number 6 is economy. Chicago has a strong, diverse economy. If you're into finance, you've got Chicago Mercantile Exchange, major banks, private equity firms, tech, Google, Amazon, Salesforce, Meta, all have major offices here, and the tech scene is growing fast. Healthcare, some of the best hospitals in the world, Northwestern, University of Chicago Medicine, Rush. Chicago is a major hub. The point is you have so many options here. Now, pro number 7 is diversity. This one is personal to me. When I moved to Chicago from Europe 27 years ago, I didn't know many people here, but I never felt like a stranger. People here are kind, they're welcoming, they're genuinely curious about different cultures and backgrounds. Chicago is a true melting pot of different cultures, and people celebrate that. You'll meet folks from literally all over the world, and there's this shared pride in being Chicagoan that kind of bonds people. As a realtor, I meet strangers all the time. I'm in and out of people's homes, their neighborhoods, their lives, and the overwhelming majority of interactions that I've had in 20-some years has been extremely positive, warm, and genuine. Midwestern hospitality is real, and you feel it here. Pro number 8 is cleanliness. Okay, this is something Chicago doesn't get enough credit for, but I have to mention it. Chicago is one of the cleanest major cities I've ever been in, and I've traveled all over the world. And here's a big reason why. Chicago has an alley system. Trash goes in the back, not on the street, like in some other major cities where trash is just piled on the sidewalk. And that makes a huge difference. But beyond the city doing its job to keep the streets clean, neighborhoods take pride in keeping things clean too. You'll see people sweeping their sidewalks, picking up litter, taking care of their blocks, manicuring their front yards. It may be a small thing, but when you live here, it matters. Pro number 9 is we have all 4 seasons. In the spring, the city just becomes alive. Flower blooms are everywhere. Outdoor patios open. Everyone is outside. And Chicago's summers are unmatched. Long days, warm nights, festivals every weekend, neighborhood block parties, concerts. Lakefront is packed with people boating, kayaking, biking, or just strolling and soaking up the views. There is nothing like it. And winter? Look, I'm not gonna lie, I don't love the cold either, and we'll go over how to survive the winter in Chicago in a bit, but I love how the city looks covered in snow. There's just something so peaceful and beautiful about it. I just love watching the snow fall. And the holidays in Chicago, just magical. The lights, decorations, the Christmas markets, ice skating in Millennium Park or Maggie Daley Park. It's a very special season. So yeah, winter is tough, but having 4 distinct seasons, it just makes you appreciate each one. All right, so those are some of the major pros. And if you're thinking, okay, Dee, this sounds great, but I need help figuring out where to live and how to make this move, it's definitely something that I can help with. My team and I specialize in helping busy professionals just like you make their move to Chicago. And whether that's in 6 days or 6 months, feel free to reach out. Our contact info is in the description, and we'd love to help you make a smooth move to Chicago. And let's just rip the Band-Aid off. Chicago winters can be brutal. This year, we literally beat Antarctica in temperature in a few days. And I'm not even exaggerating. And it's not just the cold. The wind chill off Lake Michigan is no joke. If you live near the lake, it cuts right through you if you're underdressed. But the good thing is that winters are getting milder. We have way less snowstorms compared to 10 or 15 years ago. And here's the thing, if you're dressed for it, it is manageable. Multiple layers, a wind and snowproof coat, good boots, hat and gloves, and you adapt. And honestly, most of your life happens indoors. It's not like you'll be spending hours outside. You're either outside waiting for the train or getting your car to go to work. So how much time you need to spend outside is really up to you. This is something you get to control. Plus, everything is heated. The trains are heated, buildings are heated. You're not going to suffer. So yeah, winter can be tough, but it's manageable. Millions of Chicagoans make it work. All right, let's talk about the taxes, because this one genuinely annoys me. And as an owner of 2 properties here in Chicagoland area, I feel the pain with everyone else. Illinois has some of the highest tax rates in the country. Property taxes, sale taxes, income taxes, it adds up. Property taxes in Chicago are around 1.5 to 2% of the value of the home. So on a $1 million home, to make the numbers easier, you will be paying $15,000 to $20,000 a year in property taxes. It's ridiculous. Also, Chicago has city transfer tax. So if you're buying a home in Chicago, you're paying $7.50 for each thousand. So let's say you're buying a $500,000 condo, that is $3,750 in closing costs just for transfer tax. Then we have sales tax in Chicago that is over 10%. So every time you buy something, be sure to add that on top. And here's something new as of 2026. There's a plastic reduction tax. You buy a package of water for $4 and you end up paying $8 because of the plastic tax. And a plastic bag, which is 7 cents, with a checkout bag tax ends up costing you 15 cents. It's the part of this plastic reduction initiative, which look, I get the environmental goal and support it, but it gets expensive. So be sure to bring your reusable grocery bags we do all the time, and think about installing one of those water filtration systems in your home. They definitely pay off quickly, and you'll not only be helping the environment, but your wallet too. And if you're visiting Chicago and staying in a hotel, be sure to bring your own shampoo and body wash. Hotels no longer provide individual plastic bottles because of this same initiative. So pack your toiletries. But here's the trade-off. That money goes towards infrastructure, schools, public transit, parks, libraries. I know it's frustrating, but you're also getting something for it. Okay, let's address the elephant in the room, crime. Now, as a realtor, I'm not supposed to discuss this because what feels safe to me may not feel safe to someone else. But this video wouldn't be complete if I didn't acknowledge this. So if you're considering moving to Chicago, do your homework. I'm happy to refer you to crime maps and third-party sources where you can look up crime statistics block by block and decide for yourself if you're comfortable with an area. Because in Chicago, things can vary block by block. One street is beautiful and safe, 2 blocks over it's different. And don't just pick a place because it's cheap. Understand the area. Drive by it at different times of the day. Check out the vibe. Go there during the weekend when more people are outside to see who lives there. All right, enough about that. Let's jump on to the next con, which is traffic and parking. Chicago is some of the worst traffic congestion in the nation. And it feels like the same streets have construction on them every single year. Last year, they decided to work on the expressway and Lakeshore Drive at the same time, and getting to and from downtown was a disaster. And parking? Street parking in popular neighborhoods is brutal. Even with a permit, you can be circling for 10 to 15 minutes looking for a spot. Garage parking downtown is expensive. You can be paying $30 per hour. There are also monthly rental options for $300 to $350 a month. Parking meters are popular and cheaper option when you can grab one that's available. And then there's this Chicago tradition called dips. After a big snowstorm, people shovel out their parking spots and then put lawn chairs, cones, or random objects in the spot to claim it. It's technically illegal, but people still do it. When I first moved here, it was kind of shocking and funny, but also frustrating because you can't park there even though it's a public street. And then there are the potholes. Chicago potholes are an institution at this point. Every spring, the streets look like they've been bombed. You're swerving like you're in a video game trying to avoid them. But here's the silver lining. If you live near public transportation, you really don't need a car. Most people take the train or bike or walk. So yeah, traffic sucks, but you can opt out of it. And if you know your way around the city like I do, take alternative routes and drive outside rush hours, and it's manageable. So if you're buying a home or renting an apartment, just make sure that it comes with a parking or there is a monthly rental option. It will save you so much time and frustration. Let's talk about schools, because if you have kids or you're planning to have kids, this matters. The Chicago public school system in general, faces some real challenges. Funding issues, performance disparities, and overcrowding in some areas. It is far from perfect, and some families choose to move to suburbs when it's time to think about the schools. But there are excellent public schools in Chicago as well. You just have to know where to look. Neighborhoods like Lincoln Park, Lakeview, Roscoe Village, Lincoln Square, Edison Park, Norwood Park, according to greatschools.org, have top-rated public elementary schools. And for high schools, Chicago has selective enrollment schools like Northside College Prep, Walter Payton, Whitney Young, Jones. These are some of the best public high schools in the entire country. So even though the system has its challenges, if you do your homework and understand the enrollment process, your kids can get an incredible public education, even if you live outside of the boundaries of these top-rated schools. All right, so these were my pros and cons, and I hope they helped paint a good picture of what it really looks like to live here. But I promise to reveal the insider secrets that only some locals know. So here are the things that will make your life in Chicago so much easier. If you're taking a red line or blue line downtown, don't just board any train car. Board a second or third car from the front. Why? Because when you get off your downtown stop, you'll be right by the exit. Everyone else is crammed in the middle cars, and you're breezing through the turnstiles when they're still stuck in a crowd. Also, if you're transferring at major stations like Belmont or Fullerton, position yourself near the doors that'll open closest to your connecting line. That saves you 2 to 3 minutes every commute. Over a year, that's hours of your life back. Then in the winter, there's an underground tunnel system downtown called Pedway. It connects over 40 blocks of buildings, train stations, and shopping underground. Most people have no idea it exists. But if you work downtown and it's freezing outside, you can walk from Union Station to Millennium Park completely underground. Warm, dry, no wind. Just keep in mind that it's not well marked, so Google Chicago Pedway map and save it on your phone. This is a game changer in the wintertime. Next, most Chicago museums have free days for Illinois residents. The Art Institute, free every Thursday evening. The Field Museum, Shedd Aquarium, Adler Planetarium, they all either have free or discounted resident days. And here's the thing, keeping track of all these free days can be confusing. So I actually put together a complete list of all the free museum days in my Chicago Relocation Guide. The link is in the description, so be sure to grab it. And if you have a Chicago Public Library card, which is free, you can reserve free passes for museums year-round through the Museum Adventure Pass program. Most people don't know about this. It's amazing. Now, if you have a car and you're trying to find street parking, download Spot Hero or ParkWiz. They show you real-time availability of garage parking and street parking in some areas and sometimes at discounted hourly rates. Also, be sure to download Park Chicago app. This is a game changer. So you can pay for meter parking directly from your phone and not worry about having to run back to feed the meter if you end up staying longer than expected. You can just extend it from your phone app, which is really convenient. It even alerts you 10 minutes before your parking is about to expire. I love this app. I use it all the time. Now, you may be wondering how easy it is to make friends in Chicago. Chicago is a city of neighborhoods, and the easiest way to make friends here is to get involved locally. You can join a neighborhood association, go to the same coffee shop or bar regularly, join a sports league, Chicago Sports and Social Club, play softball, volleyball, kickball, and you'll meet people fast. And if you have a dog, go to the dog parks, which we have so many of. Montrose Dog Beach, Wrigley Field, basically any smaller park. These are social hubs. Dog people are the friendliest people in Chicago. Also, sports bars during Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, or Cubs games. Sit at the bar and you end up talking to strangers, and before you know it, you got yourself a crew. So these are some of the insider secrets, the stuff that makes living in Chicago easier, cheaper, and way more enjoyable. And if you're moving here and you need help figuring out where to live, what neighborhoods fit your lifestyle, how to navigate the market, that's where I can help. I already mentioned this before, but just as a reminder, I put together a free relocation guide with detailed neighborhood descriptions, current market data, school information. The link is in the description, so just go ahead and grab it. And if you have specific questions about moving to Chicago, I'm Savic. I've had the pleasure of selling real estate here for the last 20 plus years. My team and I specialize in helping busy professionals just like you make their move to Chicago, and whether that's in 6 days or 6 months, we'd love to help you make a smooth move to Chicago. And if this is your first time on the channel and you want to know everything about Chicago and its neighborhoods, be sure to subscribe so you can be the first to know about the current market in Chicago. I make videos like this every single week, and I love to see you in the next one.